election 2024 has already started to heat up, including events happening just this weekend and just yesterday. From President Trump, who's officially running, you have people who are sort of on the unofficial list, who are making appearances, showing up in Iowa, as you do casually if you're the Florida governor, or as you do if you're Tim Scott or some of these other names.
Right.
You just show up in Iowa. No reason. I'm here just to hang out, meet people. Obviously, a lot of names are being thrown around right now. Nikki Haley, other people. But you have President Trump making his he's kind of back to making his big rallies and appearances. Last night, I know they were going to have it at sort of this big open air facility, but he said it's a little too cold. It's too cold.
I've seen it on the news.
It looks
pretty cold out there right now.
So they held it, I believe, in an arena. But this even happened before then. Obviously, Trump's number one competitor right now, and I think we have some of the polls we could probably find later on in the show, is Governor Ron DeSantis of the state of Florida. So much so that it's already started to polarize this conversation, almost like there is no other option. There is Governor Ron DeSantis, and there's former President Donald Trump.
When you're making multiple stops in Iowa on Friday, it's not just a book tour anymore, which has been kind of the guise that he's been able to fall under because he released his book. But when you're doing multiple stops and meeting with people that are even political leaders in Iowa as well, you know that this is the building the framework, the foundation for a campaign, especially since Iowa is one of the first states.
So we know the jobs are going to start flying, and they did. Again, this is from Donald Trump, from a campaign video I believe he put out, or some sort of video that he put out over yesterday. Yesterday he put this out, really taking direct aim at Governor Ron DeSantis, maybe more so than ever, not like a little jab here and there, but really kind of questioning his leadership, and not without, oddly, praising people like Charlie Crist.
For those of you that didn't notice, Florida was doing great long before Ron DeSantis got there. People are fleeing from New York to Florida and other places because of high taxes and out-of-control crime. It's really bad. Not because of the governor. Thank you, Mr. President, for doing that. But it's not because of the governor. Florida was doing fantastically. You had a governor named Rick Scott who did a very good job. Even Charlie Crist, a Democrat, did a good job, and he had very good numbers. Sunshine and ocean are very alluring. It's not too hard to work with those factors. So just remember, Florida was doing really well long before Ron DeSantis got there.
Do you want this sort of attacks being thrown saying, look, even Charlie Crist, a Democrat, was doing a good job way before Ron DeSantis showed up? It's all about sunshine and ocean. It is what it is. Typical kind of Trump rhetoric coming out, but from, again, one of the most popular figures right now, Ron DeSantis, in the conservative movement, if you will.
I would never count out the political strategy of President Trump because he's shown that he's very good and makes a lot of the right decisions when it comes to who to attack when. I do think that attacking President Biden could be a very good strategy for a politician, but there's some reason that Donald Trump is wanting to attack Ron DeSantis right now. I don't know what the insight on that is.
Maybe it's to exhaust us.
Right.
Maybe to the point where you get sick of Ron DeSantis.
I wouldn't count him out when he does that because he knows what he's doing.
And you may say, Logan, we don't have a whole lot of sound from Governor Ron DeSantis. Well, he hasn't really responded. There have been a couple times he's made some very light sort of responses, but there are almost no responses.
All in all, he has kind of remained above that in some degree, which shows, one, that President Trump sees him as the only real challenger at this point to him, but also that Ron DeSantis, because he is not in the race, is able to stay out of some of those direct attacks, which I think long term, at least until he does get in, not having to respond is helpful for him. But I did want to go over some of the poll numbers here real quick, because polling companies are still polling and asking the name Ron DeSantis, even though he is not officially in the race. And they're a little bit all over the map. But CNN has a poll that just ended on March 12th, so just 2 days ago, that has Ron DeSantis up 2 against President Trump. It's 39-37. But then just the week before that, you see a poll that has President Trump up 29 over Ron DeSantis. And then there's everything in between that, from Ron DeSantis being up 2 to Trump being up 2, and then as big as 30 points. So I don't know that polls are something that we can really look to as reliable right now. Also, with the way that the primary season works, going to different states to win delegates, It doesn't necessarily matter as much if you're just nationally polling above someone or the other. You can still win it if you were winning states and winning the delegates. However, there's still a lot of time, and some of these candidates have not even declared.